Welcome to the next episode of the eCom Growth Show. I'm your host, Danan Coleman, co-founder of eCom Triage, co-founder of Catalog Defender, and the host of, arguably by my children, the best eCom podcast in the space. I've got a very special guest on this podcast, a friend of mine. His name is Abe Chomali. He is an expert in ads, but he has an enormous amount of experience when it comes to selling online. Abe, thank you for being on the show. Why don't you give us your introduction? Tell us who you are, where you come from.
Well, first of all, thank you for not only having me, but getting my name right. That's the true measure of our friendship, when you actually know how to pronounce my last name correctly. There's a very small segment of the world. So, yeah, I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. Now, I have to ask you, pronounce my name correctly.
Is it not Danan Coleman?
You got it. We are friends.
Okay, good. Is there a different way to pronounce it?
Well, there's lots of ways. Depending on where you are in the world, I'm Danan. Israelis call me Danan.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and, that's not too... So I got it right.
Yeah. Most others butcher it and call me Danan. Like, hey, that's all right too. Answer to that.
Well, yeah, so I guess we have that in common, a life of mispronounced names that we have to power through. We can compare stories on that one day.
Yeah. Let's do it. Well, tell us where you're from and who you are, Abe.
All right. So I still consider myself to be from Brooklyn, but these days I am a little bit south of that in New Jersey. Depending on where you are in the world, we either go from the city or the state or the country. So for those of you who don't know, that's in the USA. I have been in the Amazon space for a long time. I have had a marketing agency called XP Strategies since 2018. These days, we focus on not only managing ads, but focusing on the things that help ads work. Because ads are part of a larger ecosystem on Amazon. They want everybody to advertise, but they also make everything connect to making advertising work better. So we try to get marketing to be effective for brands and help them scale up.
I love it. And you don't know how much it warms my heart to hear you say that, because I've been selling on Amazon for 15 years. So my selling when I started selling on Amazon, it predates the ads program, and it was in beta at that time. And it truly is part of an overall strategy. And I think that so many sellers feel that it's just the solution when it's not. Like, I tell people all the time, and look, I'm no ads expert. Like, I've run ads campaigns, but the last time I actually created a campaign on Amazon was 7 years ago. So, it's, I'm no expert, right? And if you don't have a good listing, Amazon will charge you more to send you worse traffic up to a certain point, because they know that some of it's going to convert, but they want to get paid on the click and the conversion, because that's where they make their money.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Amazon is in business to be in business, and they want to monetize every pixel of the page. As well, they should. If I was able to leverage every piece of my business effectively, it's my responsibility to do that. Like, not even now. At the same time, there is a sort of agreement between Amazon and their shoppers that in the process of making money, they will offer something wonderful, which is 2-day service on a whole world of amazing products. And not just 2-day service, but I can order things sometimes at 11 p.m. at night and have it when I wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. And, that is what they do in exchange for monetizing every pixel. And yeah, it's a system that works all around. It's challenging for everybody, especially if you are a seller, but there is an ecosystem that exists that ads fit into.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for that. So I mean, you're one of the few people who I legitimately trust in this industry to actually know real data, and not just like, I bring you on as a client and I charge you based on the ad spend, and I just boost your ad spend and then I make more money. Hooray. I can't tell you how many accounts I've seen, and I'm not even in the ad space at all, but I can't tell you how many accounts I've seen that have been ruined, their conversion rates down the toilet because of this strategy, where they just boost ad spend and, conversions crash.
Listen, there are all different ways to charge businesses. A some kind of percentage is not always wrong,
I
because
agree.
work scales up also. If you make a business 10x as large, you are actually doing a lot more work than you did on day one.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it looks different. But that said, yes, when a business is incentivized to have a different priority than whoever they're working with, yes, things go sideways. And the wrong incentives, yeah, I've seen a lot of the same things that you have. I've seen situations where I'll look at an account and you could tell the day that they started working with someone that was interested
Yes,
in increasing spend.
yes.
And in those cases, our work is actually pretty easy because you just have to unwind what they turned up. It's actually not too bad, but until they get to that point, it's painful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Abe, I try to keep these podcasts between 20 and 30 minutes. So I've got 5 questions that I'd like to ask you. You ready for question number 1?
I am not, but I'm sure you'll give it to me anyway.
I will. Yes, that's correct. So you've been selling since before Amazon existed. How does the world of selling feel today, and how much of it is actually the same? Let's give that a two-part question, a two-part answer, I mean.
Right. So depends when we say the previous was. So if you're going to ask me how different does Amazon look compared to how it used to look, it is completely different. Every part of selling does not look at all like what it used to. You can't even sign up without the military grade clearances these days. Just to prove that you are who you are is completely different. It used to be that you could open 11 accounts between like today and Thursday, and like nobody would even notice. You're getting deposits before they realize anything happened. That's not exactly right. These days, everything is different. Is Everything is more challenging to do. You can't do it as a side job anymore. It's very difficult. That said, so it's really, really different from day one in every part of what it's like to sell and what it's like to operate in Amazon. However, if you ask me compared to what it was when I started being in the world of business as an adult, I would actually say that Amazon is catching up to the real world. So when I started my first business back in the 1990s, we had to be in business. We were advertising in the back of magazines, and because magazines are like 2.5 months ahead of when you see it on the newsstand, we actually would have to buy 3 months of ads before we even made the first sale from the ad of 2 months earlier.
Wow.
You had to have investment money from day one to tell people you existed. You had to have inventory. Like, you had all of the things of being in business really had to be thoughtfully done, and you can't be in business otherwise. There was no by accident, there's no side hustle in your time off. I mean, the side hustle certainly existed, but the business of selling things to people that lived all over the world, you had to be in business to be in business. You couldn't do it casually. Amazon is catching up to what it has always been. That's it. And one of the things which is interesting is, we work with brands from small to large. One of the things I observe is that people who come on, they started small and they've grown. They are very frequently challenged by the changes on Amazon. Now they are successful. They have navigated, sometimes many years worth of changes. They're successful because they know how to adapt, but they're constantly being almost like slapped or punched or pushed around by these changes. What I find with companies who were large before they came onto Amazon, there are some brands I work with which, even with large Amazon sales, it's a tiny piece of their overall business. With those types of businesses, when they come to Amazon, they are not fazed by anything, because if you want to sell to Walmart, the cartons that you ship to every single store, to 3,000 different stores, not 5 different FCs. You have to send your shipments to thousands of stores. And every single one of those has to have the label within 1/3 of an inch of the edge of the box. And if not, you're paying a penalty to the departments that handle payments.
Oh.
If you can handle that, and you can handle technical integration systems with Walmart and Kohl's and whoever else, if you're in business like that, Amazon is just another place to sell. Like, it's just another place to sell, just like all the other places. And
Wow.
those businesses tend to come on to Amazon and do well because they know how to do the things.
Makes sense.
So it really is an interesting thing to observe when you have both reference points.
Yeah. I never considered that, and it makes perfect sense. So with that in mind, one could plan ahead for the changes, and then you won't be slapped in the face by them. You'll just know one day they're going to come.
Yeah, certain changes you sort of know are going to come. We can tell when Amazon is giving us a bonus, or we can tell when Amazon is doing something to get people to use a service.
Yeah.
And we should be planning for the day when the thing that is below market cost will be priced correctly.
Yeah.
One of the
Absolutely.
things I look at is Amazon's fulfillment costs.
Mhm.
Amazon's fulfillment costs are so far below what we would ever pay to take care of individual boxes ourselves. So far below. Amazon is subsidizing it. Now, I think these days they have gotten their fulfillment down to such a science that even with costs far below ours, they're still making it at some operations they can do profitably.
Yeah.
But even when they pass on additional fulfillment costs year after year after year, even if they are turning it into a profit center, it is still far below what it's going to cost us. And
Yeah.
until it catches up, you are still getting something subsidized. So you sort of need to be aware of that.
Yep, that's fair. Okay. All right, cool. Little funny side story. I used to actually sell to Walmarts door to door.
Wow. Walmart would buy something from somebody that showed up at their door?
Yep. You just had to. I just
How
would
old are you
call.
exactly?
I'm 42.
I did not know that was a thing 40 years ago. My math is also terrible.
No, that's correct. I was doing this when I was 2. That's how long I've been in sales. No, so what I would do, I worked for this company that sold sparkling, like, glitter sunscreen. And I would actually bring a display that would pop onto those round clothing hangers for swimsuits and twist and lock in. And so I would go over there. I set an appointment first, and I said, "Hey, I've got something that's going to fly off your shelves." And I'd bring this display, I'd put it on there, I'd rotate it, lock it in, and I'd put the product on there. And I said, "This will get sales with every single one of your swimsuits for girls, basically like teenage girls and that age bracket." And I think I only didn't sell 1 or 2 of the Walmarts that I went to, but otherwise the branch managers, not the branch manager, but the category managers had authority to handle POs right on the spot. And so I get a PO signed right then and there, and I'd walk off with an order of $1,000 or whatever it was.
Well, I just learned something.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know if it's that way anymore, but it was then,
I didn't even think it was that way that recently. I was of the opinion that as long as computers have existed, they have made things crazy with processes. So yeah, they're also continually advancing their systems.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, let's get on to the next question here. You've worked with sellers of every size and shape and business model. What's one thing people still keep getting wrong about Amazon ads?
Boy, only one? There's probably more than one, but
Go with with the major ones.
Listen, the major one is almost the simplest one. Amazon ads is a system that needs to be managed. And the thing I see most frequently is companies have an Amazon ads account. They are spending money, but they are not managing it frequently. They are not doing the housekeeping that needs to be done as frequently as housekeeping is supposed to be done. It is called housekeeping because it should be done not occasionally. Okay. So the things like adjusting your bids, I've looked at accounts, large accounts that have not made a bid change in months. I have looked at accounts that have not negated a term in months, if ever. And these happen with businesses of all sizes. They just don't do the housekeeping. Now, I am biased, of course, but that is what I'm here for. Just like you hire a housekeeper, just like you hire a plumber, we are a person to do the thing that you don't have the focus to do 19 times a week. But in terms of a mistake, yes, thinking that it is set it and forget it, it is anything but.
I am 100% guilty of that sort of thing. And was the last ads campaigns I did, and went in there one day, and I'd spent many, many, many dollars, thousands of dollars on not a single conversion. Like,
Oh yeah. I spoke to someone who said that, oh man, I'm going to forget the numbers, but he basically told me that he wasted $20,000 on ads within a couple of years. And I'm like, what do you mean you wasted $20,000? He goes, I had an ad account. It was set to $50 a day. Every day it spent the $50. ACOS was like 140%, and I never looked at it. And it was only $50 a day in an account that was doing well. And in 2 years, I lost $20,000 because it's just $50 a day that I didn't look at. So yes,
yeah.
It was obscene.
Yeah, I did. I had a client, they were doing 75 million-ish a year, and they were spending, what were they spending?
By the way, it actually is more. $50 times 2 years of days is $36,000.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So 70 grand.
Yeah, no, that's 2 years worth, but yes.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a referred an account. They were doing about 70 million a year. Turns out about 30 million of that was at a loss. And it was due in large part to the ads. And so the company that I referred them to found at this time they'd shut down a significant percentage of their ads, but we found I think it was it was either 12,000 or 17,000 a month in zero or negative, like zero profit or negative profit spend.
Wow.
Which was just, it was insane to me. This huge company, I'm looking at their stuff, I'm like, how can you be losing money where is it going? And so I did a deep dive and got this company to clean up the ads, and that was it. Now they're profitable, you know?
Well, that's what you're here for.
Yeah, exactly. So question number 3 is this: when you look at a struggling Amazon account, what's the thing you immediately look for?
I don't think there's one thing. We sort of have a process when we look at accounts. We have a formal process for an audit where we take the data in an account, we look at a bunch of things all at once. But probably the number one thing which almost always becomes a discussion point is wasted spend.
Mm-hmm.
So we can run a report and we can see how many search terms got spent but no sales. We typically run it over 60 days as opposed to like 30 or 7 days. And we say, okay, how much of that spend was on search terms that made no sales? I mean, even if a search term makes one sale expensively, that's not completely wasted because you sold a unit to somebody. How many search terms made 0 sales and spent? And I see accounts where 65, 75, 80% of the search terms are not making any sales.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's interesting because whenever I explain that, I actually have to explain you don't necessarily want to be 0. You actually want a wasted spend in the area of like 12 to 40%, because that shows that you are continually looking for new search terms and ways to sell your product. If you're close to 0, you're only selling to things you only rank for, and you're not finding new ways to sell things. Even with mature products, there should still be some terms that you're trying to make sales with.
Yeah, I would never expect that. Like, and you work with big brands.
I work with big brands. I work with medium and small brands, but yes, and it is not specific to the size of the brand.
Right.
Now, there is one thing to keep in mind. When I say 55% wasted spend, it means 55% of the terms. That doesn't mean 55% of the dollars.
No, I get it.
An individual term can spend 5 to 80 cents, and the terms that are converting can sell $11,000 each. So it's still, but when 55 or 75 or 85% of your terms, it's usually not that tiny of a percentage.
Yeah, well, but it's just literally waste. You're throwing money out into the air
and it's easy to control for. So that is one of the places that we are able to fix something immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, you get incredible results. You look like a hero. Well, you are a hero right off the bat.
So only sometimes.
You're a hero to me, Abe.
You're gonna make me blush.
All right, next question is what separates winners from everyone else when it comes to Amazon?
Sort of, I would say it's an answer similar to the others. It's the people who take Amazon seriously and they take it like it is a business.
Mhm.
When things happen, they look at it as a thing to be managed and not that the sky is falling. When things are good, they are trying to understand what is going well and how to do more of it. The people who handle their business like a business tend to do well. The people who don't, the people who hand jobs off to people and never communicate with them, or they don't even fully understand what's happening in their business as a business, they typically tend not to do well.
Yeah. That's very well said. One of the things that I'm actually going into next is full like CEO coaching for eCom because like how do you transition from being an entrepreneur where we are shoot from the hip and figure it out, get it done, but then you need to transition into becoming a chief, right? The chief
Right.
of your business and start delegating business positions and stuff like that. And I'm learning this myself, but I'm partnering. We're in discussion, but partnering with a company that is going to have what I think is going to be an absolutely incredible tool for this. And I think it's critically important because you're always working on your business to improve things. I think you need to, at a certain point, once it's gotten to a certain point, you need to start improving yourself and your own operational skills. But anyhow, all that to say, I agree with you. You need to be properly managing a business and yourself.
Yes.
Cool. Last question. What advice have you got as we head into 2026 here?
Um, have a rainy day fund because uh, not only Amazon, but the entire world is in a bit of chaos and turmoil these days. Not that it ever isn't, but these days a little bit more than in years past. And being able to weather some storms is going to be super important for who makes it years and who doesn't. Whether it's tariffs, whether it's different issues with China, whether it's issues even within America. I don't even know or have enough imagination to figure out what's going to happen next week, but it will always be better for you to have some cash on hand.
Couldn't agree with you more. We try to keep, well, we had to use it and unfortunately and fairly recently, but I like to have a year's worth of expenses paid in a cash fund so that if anything happens, I know without a doubt my family is completely covered for at least a year.
That is, that puts you ahead of most for sure.
Yeah, 3 months would be the minimum. 6 months would be ideal, and 1 year is my goal to keep on hand.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That you put that advice to business use also, and
Yep.
you've got my answer there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's another thing we do. So we run our businesses extremely lean. That has come to our detriment at times. You know, like we've never taken on debt, we've never taken on investments, we've never taken loans, other than a very small line of credit with our credit union. But you know, just we live a cash life, right? And I don't ever want to have debt where avoidable. Some debt is fine, but you know, we definitely like, if we need to pay for inventory, we have that cash on hand. We use a credit card to do that, but we pay that credit card off at that time. So,
Smart man.
yeah.
I aspire to be as disciplined as you.
Well, look, this came from horrible decisions in the past, and we spent a long time digging ourselves out of our mistakes, our financial mistakes, at a time when we were doing the best in our life on revenue and income, and it was a lack of discipline that led to, you know, little financial irregularities.
Oh yeah. No,
Wait,
we live in a world which is trying to separate us from our money in any
that's
one
right.
of countless ways.
Yes,
And it is a world which is sophisticated at accomplishing exactly that goal.
correct. You're
So
absolutely right.
every dollar you save, you are fighting a system that doesn't want that to happen.
That's right. Well said. You are so correct on that. Yeah, and look, I love all the technical tchotchkes and stuff that we can buy, but I take a real hard look at, will I use this for greater than the value, or sorry, will this value be greater than the cost? And so I have to look at every expense as an ROI. Can I go get a $150,000 car? I could. Would I get $200,000 out of value out of it? Not a chance. Unless I Turo'd the thing and then it'd be destroyed after, a year or whatever. So, I try to I try to run my personal life in the same manner as I run my business life. If I put effort or money into this thing, what's the payout? You know, Now, if my wife were here listening to this, she'd be like, well, why do you keep that Rover around? Like, some things don't count,
Yes.
but yeah.
We don't see those things, of course not.
No, 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 no. Although it did just the differential did explode last week right before I left to travel. So it's in my driveway leaking on it. Anyhow, we won't get into that. That's
No, no.
that one doesn't count. Abe, thank you so much for being on here. You have sage advice worthy of the beard in which is depicted in this sage face of yours. Thanks for being here. Anyone that's still listening, thank you very much for being here as well. XP Strategy is Abe's company, and if you are in need of someone to help you with your ads, he has my complete and utter confidence that he'll do an excellent job for you.
Yeah, it's actually not the only way I can help sellers these days.
Tell me more.
So I have a new project which we have been rolling out. It is systems training to help brands level up. We cover everything from, of course, advertising, but we cover finance, we cover operations, we cover SEO, we cover the AI parts of Amazon. It is a fully built out program for sellers who are already doing a good amount of business to take multiple steps up. It's called RightClick,
Okay.
and you can find us at rightclickadvisors.com.
RightClickadvisors.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, good. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that later. I'll see you at the next event. You can tell me all about it.
I sure will.
All right. Thanks, Abe. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.